Welcome, a warm welcome also from my side. I'm so happy and also excited to be here to speak in front of you, in front of people who are open for interaction, open for exchange. And I think that's very special because while others are maybe still at home or already working, you're here and you bring all this positive energy and your time into this room. So thank you very much for that. And thank you, Creative Mornings, to make all of this possible. Before we start, I invite you to do an interactive, like an activation practice all together. And it's usually I do it with the younger audience because it has a playful approach, but also a very transforming and deep effect. So I invite you to just follow my voice and also follow my instructions. That's very, very important. So to exactly do what I am doing. So I invite you to all get up. And bring your focus back to yourself. Your focus on your shoulders. And maybe you feel a weight on your shoulders. You can close your eyes if it feels right. Maybe there's a weight on your shoulders and you already feel this weight for many days, maybe weeks, maybe even years. Maybe there are expectations of other people on your shoulders. Maybe you have pictures in your mind. Imagine them sitting on your shoulders. Maybe there are strict deadlines. Maybe there's pressure on your shoulder. Maybe there's anxiety. Maybe something that bothers you right now. Feel how strong the weight is on your shoulders. And now, eyes open and let it slide down, 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 down on both sides. Let it slide down, shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. Whew. All right, thank you so much for being. Thank you so much for being open for this exercise. And I already feel a little bit refreshed. Maybe you can give me a sign. Who feels the same? Like who feels a little difference after this practice? All right, thank you. And now I'm wondering, like this weight you just felt on your shoulders. Who of you has felt this weight also from time to time in everyday life? Give me a hand if this is the case. Okay, yes, thank you. And who knows, like from the inner circle, like maybe colleagues, maybe friends, maybe family, maybe even children. Have you ever observed that they suffer from this kind of stress also in everyday life? Have you experienced this also in the inner circle? Yes? All right. Okay. Thank you so much. I was very curious about that because I'm from Germany, and in Germany it's quite common to have this like pressure to perform and also the stress in everyday life. And within the last 10 years, this even increased, this pressure. So I was very curious how it's going to be here and how it's in this room. And it's great that you're here today, so thank you very much for that, because today I'm going to share a tool set with you with 3 different tools. Like 2 more hands-on tools and 1 that goes a little bit more in energetic direction. So who am I? I'm Carina. I'm, like I said, originally from Germany, and I'm a systemic coach for children. So I help children exactly with those topics like pressure to perform, exam anxiety, also dealing with bullying dynamics at school. And it's all about developing a healthy self-esteem so that they can deal with those topics. And this job, like it's really just a job because it really comes from deep inside my heart. It's something Like it's such a great, a big vision for me to help kids to get into their power. And how this vision developed and how my journey started, for this I would like to tell you a story. I remember it was more than 4 years ago in October 2019. It was the first Saturday in October. And at that time I was very much stressed. I was working in a consulting company and I was so much in my head. Like there were so many duties, there so many tasks, so many expectations at work, but also like from family, friends. And I decided in parallel to do a coaching education on the weekends. So it was the Saturday morning and it was the first day of my coaching education. And I was late in time. So I just grabbed my bag. It was a big, heavy black backpack with my laptop in it, because I never left the house without my laptop, because I usually thought, okay, there's something to do, somebody wants something from me. So I just grabbed my backpack and I ran to the bus stop. And when the bus stopped, I had to run again because I didn't want to be late. And I thought I cannot be late. Like at this time in my life, it was not an option to be late. This is something I did not allow myself. So I was running, and from the distance I already saw this building. It was a white building with like an old building very much in the center of Munich. I still lived in Munich that time. And I was running and I came closer and I saw that the doors are still open. So luckily they were still open. It was a big like light brown door. And then I stepped up the stairs and there was a lady already opening the door for me to the seminar room. So she was very friendly. She had a very friendly expression, and I entered the room and it was very nice and like a very calm and positive energy. So I just grabbed one of the chairs that was still empty. We were all sitting, like the other people were already sitting in a chair circle kind of. So I was just sitting down on this chair, and I felt this atmosphere and I thought, that's very nice to be here. Like it's a very open and nice atmosphere. But somehow I was cold, like inside myself I was cold. I had like cold, sweaty hands and my heart was beating and I was so much in my head, like still thinking about all the tasks, about the consulting company and what I still have to do. And I was already in my mind like thinking about how am I gonna introduce myself now when I'm sitting in the circle with all the other people. So I was not even aware what's going on within this room. But then something happened that changed my life a lot, because there was a woman sitting on the opposite side of me. She was in her mid of 30s kind of, like long brown hair. And I saw like something, how she moves and her expression is very present and very like she had like sparkling like mocha brown eyes and like very sporty and elegant dressed. And she started talking and something about her reminded her to myself, something about her. But one thing was totally different, because this woman was telling her truth. And what I want to say with this is I was also about to tell my truth about my career path, and I was thinking about how am I going to introduce myself. But this woman was so vulnerable. She really showed who she is deep inside. And with this vulnerability, she was so strong, while I felt so weak, while I was trying to be perfect. And So it happened, like a transformation started for myself, and I thought, okay, if I want to stay in this room, I have to let go of my facade and I have to let go of my poker face. If I want to stay in this room with all those people, I have to be true and I have to be real. So yeah, a phase of much reflection started, and I realized like what are actually my values? what are actually my strengths and talents and skills, and what do I want to bring into this world? How do I want to contribute? So I realized I'm exactly at the right place to do coachings for children, and I want to bring them into their power. Because the woman I was at that day in October 2019, so there was a part of myself in this room that actually arose in my childhood. So in my childhood, you can see me on this picture here on stage, so I tried very hard to be seen and be the best and be perfect. Because I thought, if I am like this, I am loved and I am seen and I am safe. But now I know there are different paths, I am safe and I am loved, and there are so much more ways to at the same time be relaxed and be in ease. And that's something what I want to teach to the children, and now I also want to show you some of those methods and exercise I developed within the last few years that helped me a lot. So within the story, you have already seen how this pressure to perform shows up. It can show up mentally by thoughts. For example, there might be this thought, I have to be kind, I have to be good, I have to be fast, I have to do things fast. This thought, I'm not good enough, I have to do it better. Or I have to be strong. And actually those phrases, it's from a theory from T.E.B. Kahler. Maybe you've heard about him. There's a questionnaire. If you're interested, you can Google it later on and do a questionnaire, because sometimes those thoughts, they are there, but we're not aware of them. Because 4.5 years ago, when I was in this room, first day of my coaching education, I felt stressed, but I was not aware of all those thoughts that were there all the time. Then also emotionally, this pressure can show up. For example, you can feel anxiety or helplessness or even guilt. Or also how I realized or felt it in the story I've told you, the body shows us. The body shows you if you're not in your power and in your strength. So it can be a shallow breathing or rapid heart beating, sweaty hands, but also belly pain or sleeping problems. So now we finally find out about the tools that help us in those situations. Because this part I've just showed you, this little child that wants to be good and strong and perfect, is still within me, and that's fine. But it's all about realizing it and finding a way how to deal with it, and step by step to move out of those old patterns. So I'm sure that there's already a lot of knowledge into this room. So I will take the first 3 things you will throw in my direction. What have you already read or heard about relaxation methods? Maybe you even use them for yourself. I don't need whole phrases, just words, things you're doing, you've read, like I said.
Breathing.
So breathing, yes, thank you. The journaling, thank you very much. What else? Exercise. Which kind of exercise? Running, sport, moving.
Movement.
Nice. Yeah. Music. Nice. Meditation as well.
Over on that side.
One more from this side. We already have a lot, but maybe there's something you would like to add?
Art.
Sorry.
Art.
Arts, yes. Nice. So many helpful things, and I also collected a few more because they are so many things you can actually do, and it's all about finding the right way that fits to yourself. And like I said, today I will show you 3 different techniques and tools and methods, and just make a check-in and feel for yourself what fits to yourself actually. So the first one is called Dolce far niente. Maybe you know this expression. It comes from Italy, and maybe now you already have a picture in your mind of an old Italian man sitting in the streets, sitting in a cafe and drinking his espresso. And he's doing nothing, just sitting there doing nothing, and he enjoys his espresso. Maybe he watches the people, but actually he's just sitting there, just in this moment. And he creates a space for creativity and intuition that is sometimes not there in our busy life. And maybe you can also combine that with your fika in the afternoon. But I invite you to put away your phone, your laptop, not talking to anyone, not thinking in your mind already what's the next step, just in this moment, just observing, just being there. And I think especially in our Western European or Western world, we do need that in order to create a balance. Then the second one, I called it Cut the Lemons. It's actually quite a new, it's not a new tool, but something I have experienced 2 weeks ago with a client. She is at the end of her 40s, and I was working with her in a coaching session. And her topic was exactly the same topic we're talking about today. It was about the stress and the anxiety and all the to-dos she feels in everyday life. And she wanted to change. She wanted to become a more relaxed and eased person in the future. So we were drawing a picture. On the left-hand side, it was her identity, her self right now, and on the right-hand side, her identity in the future. And I asked her, like, what is between those 2 identities? Like, what is lying in between there right now? And she said, like, if there would be a symbol lying between of those 2 people, then there are lemons, like sour lemons, and it symbolizes all the tasks, all the duties, all the expectations lying between those 2 people. And then I asked her, okay, like, what do we need now in order to get a little step closer to this new identity? What could it be? What could us help in this situation? And she said, so my first impulse is that I need a knife. And then I thought, oh wow, now it's gonna be a bit scary. But then she said, yeah, I need to cut the lemons. I need to cut them, because sometimes we think we have to eat a whole lemon, and that's, oh wow, that's just, then we don't want to do it at all. So yeah, first of all, it's about getting an overview, like what is actually in between, like how many lemons are lying in between myself and a future being. And then prioritize, and the most important thing is to break them down, like really break them down and step by step moving forward. And also for this, it's so important to stay in the moment. Like if you cook something, you cook something. If you work, you work. If you take a shower, you take a shower. And if you do dolce far niente, you do dolce far niente and nothing else. And like I told you, there's one more energetic exercise I would like to share with you because it helps me a lot. It has its base in very old theories, like it comes from Chinese medicine, but also from Einstein's teachings. And it's all about tapping specific areas on your body, like specific energy centers that help you release your negative emotions and energies. And for this, like, I will show you those parts of your body. And if you want, if you feel like it, you can also like just doing the same as I do, because I just by doing this, I already feel that something in my body changes. And maybe there was something on your shoulders, if you remember the first practice we did. Maybe there's something very specific you have in mind right now. And I invite you to, while I'm explaining, to do the same, like just tapping those specific areas in your face, and thinking about this issue, this thing that is bothering you right now. So the first spot is on your head. It's here. Just tapping it, and it feels a bit weird. I also thought when I did that the first time, I thought that's so crazy. It's a bit strange, but it helps because we exist of so much energy, and it helps us to get rid of things. So here on the head, second one is over the eyebrows. And I invite you also to stay connected with yourself and to feel, do I already feel a difference here if I'm doing this? How does it feel? Some people also tell that they even become more anxious and nervous, but that's all right, because then the energy starts moving and it can be released. Then under your eye. Then under your nose. And for the first round, it's important to feel into this negative feeling, because that's the feeling we want to get rid of. Under the mouth. And then below this bone here, it's the thymus gland here. And then also all our fingers, like on the outside of our fingers, except of the fourth one. And we can also do this also on this side. And if you have never heard something about it, you maybe think that's so weird and so strange. But I invite you to just take it with you. And maybe you don't have to do that in society if you don't feel like it. But if you feel like you're at home and something does not feel right, there's somewhere clouds in between you and the sun. Just, this tapping method. It's also called emotional freedom technique. And something else that might help, it's called EMDR. Maybe you have heard about that before as well. It's called eye movement desensitization reprocessing. So it's about moving your eyes, like from one side to another side, like 30 seconds, like. And it also looks a bit strange, but if you do that and think about the situation that is bothering you, you also start to reconnect yourself from this problem. And then you feel like, usually I have the feeling actually that's not a problem anymore. I can deal with this. I just have to take the first step. I just have to cut down the first lemon and do the first baby step. And then after you have done this, we are in more of a natural state. And then you can even start to combine it with affirmations, like positive sayings. And you combine it with this tapping, because sometimes it's difficult for us to get into this feeling. Like if we feel anxious, and if you tell yourself, I'm safe, or something like this, maybe then it feels a bit awkward. But for me, it helps to also combine it with this tapping. And then to say things like, I am safe and I am loved. And just tapping all those areas. Or I do my best and I believe in myself. we are back. Or also something like I choose trust. I think this is so helpful as well, because if there's trust and if we are grateful about things, anxiety doesn't have room anymore. It's just not possible. Maybe you've realized that. Like if you're writing your diary and if you're grateful about something, there's no room, no space anymore for fear and stress and anxiety. And actually I very much like the first quote, because you can do everything and nothing will happen. Either you learn something or you win. Even if you make a mistake and something does not work, fine, we can learn so much out of that. And that's actually a quote from Nelson Mandela. All right, so now I've introduced you 3 different tools, like 2 more hands-on tools, 1 more energetic tool. And now I invite you to exchange with your neighbor and just share with your neighbor what was your key takeaway. Maybe it was the Dolce fat Niente, like drinking espresso. Maybe it was cutting the lemons or the tapping technique. Just exchange and tell your partner what was your 1, maybe even 2 key takeaways you want to take with you out of this session. What is it? All right, then I invite you to come back. I invite you to come back because there's one last sentence I would like to share with you. Because in my opinion, there's nothing wrong about this spiciness. Today's topic is spicy, about the spiciness. Like we do need action in order to develop something. We do need pressure in order to grow. But I ask you to please stay connected with yourself so that you realize if this spiciness becomes too strong, find something to neutralize it. Maybe with an espresso, maybe with a slice of lemon, or you know the best, because actually it's everything within yourself. Thank you so much.